Ugly.
Five. Who are the best and who are the worst NFL teams? It's Mike Gill's Fine Five and Ugly Five on 97.3 ESPN FM, South Jersey's football station.
Yeah, it's time for the five best, five worst. We call them the Fine Five and the Ugly Five. They're the fine five best, five worst teams in the NFL. Josh, I think there are really only five really bad teams. Everybody else is like mediocre. And there are like three fine teams, and then everybody else is kind of good.
I feel like there's like four stages at this point. You have your ugly teams, you have your mediocre teams, you have your kind of good teams, and then you have your fine teams.
Well, let's find out who they are, starting with the Ugly Five. How about it? Number 5 on my list. They lost last week, the Chicago Bears. 4-game suspension for their best offensive weapon. Cutler's been a disaster. Fox on the hot seat. 0-5 on the road. Yep, that sounds like a Ugly Five team to me.
I actually have the Bears worse than 5th overall, but they're on my list. I have the Jets sitting at 5 just because, you know, when you get that close to beating the Rams and you score one touchdown, can't get an extra point, you score nothing the rest of the game, you're so close to not being ugly, but you still are ugly. It's rough, man. It's rough to watch.
You had your shot to get out of ugliness, and yet you couldn't
missed
do
it by that much.
Choked it away. Number 4 is the Jets for me. Quarterback issues. Linemen don't show up to meetings. Coach on the hot seat. Romo going to be a Jet next year. Lost 2 in a row. All sorts of issues on that team. Yeah, the Jets, 244 points doesn't help either.
Nah. My number 4 team are the Jaguars. Another pathetic loss on Sunday. I mean, you go against a quarterback who threw for 99 passing yards. Not 199, 99 passing yards. And you still lost.
In the immortal words of one Josh Hennig, good grief. Number 3 on my list, you're Jacksonville. This is a team that's lost 4 in a row. Coach on the hot seat, 239 points. This was a team that some people thought were going to make the playoffs. And look, they're 2-7 in maybe the worst division in football. There's big problems on that team. I think the Gus bus is sitting on the side of the road somewhere with 3 flat tires, and it looks like the transmission's got steam coming out right now.
My number 3 team is the Bears. You lose your best offensive weapon for 4 weeks. Jay Cutler looked absolutely horrific versus the Buccaneers. A Buccaneers defense has actually been in the bottom third of the league this season overall, and Jay Cutler couldn't put points up against them. John Fox may have to get fired. I mean, something is going on with this roster that you beat the Vikings, but you can't beat the Bucs. Something's not right there.
Number 2, I continue to have Cleveland, even though they're 0-10. I think they play harder than San Francisco does. Although San Francisco almost beat Arizona last week. They've lost 10 in a row. They've given up 301 points. But I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because they're on like their 5th quarterback this year. They might get Robert Griffin III back at some point. And I think, again, if Cleveland played San Francisco, I think Cleveland would beat them.
Browns are worse for me, the 49ers. You have a chance to be competitive. Thursday football, prime time. Cody Kessler not having a bad game. What Josh McCown did. All he does is throw interceptions. That's dysfunctional. That's not even beyond bad. They're not just ugly, they're dysfunctional.
Well,
the 49ers at least looked like they were competitive in that game.
But here's the difference. I've got San Francisco, number 1. They have something in common with all of the other teams in the Ugly Five. The coach is on the hot seat. I think Hugh Jackson is not on the hot seat.
He literally is the only coach of a bad team not on the hot seat.
Right. I thought John McMullen brought it up yesterday. Pretty funny. He's the Brett Brown of the NFL. Like, we know you're going to lose. You got no talent. Just go out there and play the game. Chip Kelly is on the hot seat 10 games into the season already with that team out there in San Francisco. Look, this is a team with Chip Kelly that is supposed to be an offensive genius. They've got 187 points. It's the worst, one of the worst numbers in the NFC. They're a minus 96 on the year. And since they won on opening night, they've done bupkis. And I don't think that they would beat the Browns if they played head-to-head. I contend that. I continue to say that. Sticking with that.
All right.
Let's go over to the Fine Five. Those are the 5 worst teams in the league. We both have the same 5, just a little different order. I think our finds might be a little different. We'll find out right now. Number 5 on my list, I've got the Oakland Raiders. I'm starting to buy into the Raiders a little bit, 3 in a row. And I got to tell you, a couple of years ago, I had Derek Carr on this show. He was a draft choice. He was entering the draft. And when he got off, I got to find that interview. I think I still have that interview somewhere. But after he got off the air, I was like, this guy's going to make it. This guy is going to be a player in this league. He had it. You could talk to certain guys. Like I told you before, Greg Hardy, I interviewed him, and he looked like he was looking through me. Like I knew something was wrong with that dude. When I interviewed Derek Carr, I knew it. That guy had it. And right now, they're 5-0 on the road. That gets you number 5 in the Find 5 on a 3-game win streak, and you beat Denver, so you're in.
They're on my list, but they are not 5. I have a new entry for my Find 5 this week, Mike. It is your Kansas City Chiefs, Mike Gill.
Hey now.
Kansas City Chiefs finally arrive in the picture for me. Listen, I looked over all the schedules. I looked over all the games, and I got to give them credit. They deserve to be in there. They might end up winning that division by the skin of their teeth. I just don't think they're going to be a productive playoff team, but I think they'll make the playoffs.
Well, I got the Chiefs at number 4.
Of course you do.
They've won 5 in a row. 11 in a row last year. So that's 16 out of 18. They're 7-2. They don't lose at home. They've only given up 168 points. They've got the Denver's in their division, and they have the best defense in the division. They've got a great coach. They're steady as they go. The Kansas City Chiefs, for me, number 4 in the Find 5.
I think you're a little crazy when you say they're the best defense in the division. I think the Broncos are better, but I digress. The Raiders are my number 4 team. I like their quarterback.
Broncos defense didn't look so good against Oakland.
Everybody gets a bad game, Mike.
Yep. Guess what? Chiefs 168, Broncos 189.
I like the Raiders quarterback better than the Chiefs quarterback. I like the Raiders receivers better than the Chiefs receivers. I like the Raiders pass rush better than the Chiefs pass rush. Especially Justin Houston for most of the season, I think, hurts the Chiefs.
And they're getting him back.
They are getting him back, but I want to see how healthy he is. So for now, I'm still going Raiders over Chiefs.
One thing I like about the Chiefs, too, when their guys get hurt, they still win. Backup quarterback, Nick Foles, they win. Jamal Charles hasn't played all year, they win. Spencer Ware missed the 1 week, they put in Charchandrick West, they won. Macklin hasn't played the last couple of weeks, they win. Houston hasn't played all year, they win. That's a sign of a good team. Number 3, I got the Cowboys. I moved them down a spot. You'd say, what? They won 8 in a row. How'd you move them down a spot? Well, you'll find out in a minute, but I'm not alone in this. Vegas odds, if Cowboys played Seattle at a neutral site, Seattle's the favorite in that game. And I think we saw why on Sunday night. I think yesterday we looked at the Dallas schedule. It opened our eyes up a little bit. Is Dallas as good as we thought they were? Look, I had them at number 2. I bought into them early ago. But maybe even I was too high on Dallas. They're number 3 in the Find 5, but they slipped 1 spot this week.
I had the Seahawks. I moved them up to 3. Remember, they were lower on my list last week. Here's the thing with the Seahawks. I like the win over the Patriots. I like what I'm seeing from the team. I like Russell Wilson getting healthy. What concerns me is that I feel like at some point, it's all going to hit the wall. I feel like at some point, the offensive line struggles, the linebacker depth issues, the issues with the mediocre wide receivers, the bizarre situation where they just released Christine Michael, their leading rusher on the season, because Thomas Rawls is coming back. Something doesn't add up about this team. I like them, but I don't like them enough to put ahead of the Cowboys.
I got the Patriots number 2. You lose at home on Sunday night against a good team. That means that team's pretty good. And I'm not knocking the Patriots, but they lost a home game on Sunday night against a good team. Means I can't put them ahead of the other team. I just can't do it. So Patriots, this week you're number 2, and Gronk could be out.
Yeah, see, as I've said in the past, my rankings are not based on a week-to-week immediacy reaction. It's based on a full picture. I have the Cowboys at 2 because I feel overall this season they are the second best team in the NFL, and I have to keep the Patriots at 1 for me.
Seattle's 1 for me. You go on the road, you cross the country and beat anybody, that's a solid win. You cross the country on a Sunday night and beat the Patriots in their building, guess what? You opened my eyes. I got some notice of you there. And guess what? I think the Seahawks are just getting started. I disagree with you. I think they are just getting moving. They got Procise now, a guy they didn't have at the beginning of the year. They're going to add Rawls, so they're going to have the two guys there. They're going to be able to go Rawls between the tackles, Procise catching the ball out of the backfield. Their defense is getting better. I think Seattle deserves the top spot in this week's Fine Five. That's our Fine Five and Ugly Five. Comments, questions, applause, negative, boo, hiss. Send it to our Dubell Lumber text board, 609-403-0973.